Welcome to another Hoops Prospects interview. I'm Rich Harris, and today I'll be speaking to Nate Laszewski, a 6'10", 235-pound senior from Notre Dame. As a junior, Nate had a breakout season, averaging 13.3 points and 7.3 rebounds per game, and posted excellent shooting splits, excuse me, 59% from the floor, 43% from deep, and 71% from the foul line. He also led the ACC in true shooting percentage at 69.1. Nate, thanks for joining us today, and how you doing?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm doing well.
All right, so as you may have noticed, I'm wearing Notre Dame gear, and my grandparents lived in New York City, and they were a part of what was called, or maybe still is called, the Subway alumni of Notre Dame, due to the football team frequently playing at Yankee Stadium. So as a result, I've been a Fighting Irish fan since I was a little boy. Having said that, you were a top 75, recruit coming out of high school, and you had offers from schools like Baylor, North Carolina, Arizona. What made you pick Notre Dame?
Yeah, I think, when I went on my visit to Notre Dame, I just loved the campus, loved the vibe, everyone I met here. And then definitely, had the best relationships with the coaches as well. They recruited me for a number of years. So I thought I had a really good relationship with, not just, one assistant, but, all the assistants as well as Coach Bray. And then obviously, the academic piece as well to it. So being able to play in the ACC and then also get a great education was kind of like the total package for me. So, I just fell in love with it.
Okay, that makes sense to me. So coming out of high school, I think you were generally considered a small forward. Since then, you've added a great deal of weight and muscle, and at Notre Dame, they've mainly used you as a stretch 4-5. For those who didn't see you play at Northfield, Mount Herman, what aspects of your game in high school have you not been able to display at Notre Dame?
Yeah, well, I think that, as the game has evolved into, more of a small ball kind of thing where, spacing the floor a lot, I think I've been utilized here as a four. I started making that transition a little bit my senior year of high school, getting used to that role. And then here also being able to play, the five, because I was able to, add some strength and some weight. So yeah, definitely, in high school, it was a little bit of a different role, just being a little bit smaller. Also growing late, I think helped me moving forward, towards my senior year of high school and then into college as well, being able to play multiple positions.
When did you have a significant growth spurt in high school?
Yeah, when I was a freshman in high school, I think I came in at only about 6 foot 6'1", and so then every year I kind of grew 3 inches or so, and so by the time I was a senior in high school, I was pretty much 6'10",
and under 200
high school.
And under 200 pounds, right?
Yeah. At that point, yeah, I was pretty light.
Right. Okay. So let's talk about the current team. I see on ACC.com that the Irish are predicted to finish 8th in the conference. Given the squad's experience, depth, shooting, and my unbiased opinion, I feel that the team, could finish among the top 4 in the ACC. What are your thoughts on the subject, and how do you feel this team is shaping up?
Yeah, we definitely, feel pretty confident going into this season. We've been really working a lot all summer and into the fall. We didn't, really like how last season finished up. But, we've kind of had a new approach, working a lot of new things. And then we have a lot of older guys too, that have played a lot of minutes, that have a lot of experience. So I think, just having that experience with each other, playing college basketball, that, we feel we can do a lot of good things this year.
Yeah, I think your recruiting class, I think five of you were in the top 100.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think, or close to it.
Yeah.
All right. So, I watch Notre Dame a lot, obviously. And over the past few years, I felt that injuries and depth have been a pretty big issue for you guys. And the one concern I do have this year is front front court depth. And I assume Paul Atkinson is going to be a nice plug and play replacement for Juwan Durham. But behind you and Paul, there's not much experience. Is that a big concern for you?
I think, we have two really, guys in Matt Zona and Elijah Taylor, who have been here now for, this is their second years, even though they're both technically, I guess, freshmen in terms of eligibility. But yeah, they know what the program is. They know what to do. And I think, especially early on, having them, get minutes will definitely build confidence for them. I know we have confidence in their abilities and what they can do with their strengths. So yeah, I think behind me and Paul, we've got two really good guys that can come in and contribute.
Okay, and how have you and Paul been able to gel? I mean, is there any major differences between him and Juwan? That I know Juwan was a supreme shot blocker, and he really came on mid-season to the end of the season last year.
Mm-hmm.
Can Paul shoot the three? I'm not overly familiar with his game.
Yeah, he can shoot it. Yeah, we had our first exhibition this past Friday actually, and he made a three in that game. So yeah, I think his strength is definitely in operating in the low post, but he can definitely step out and shoot it for sure.
Okay, good. So is there one particular teammate, at any position who wasn't in the rotation last season, including freshmen, that you foresee emerging as a significant contributor this season, an X factor, if you will?
Yeah, I think obviously, the addition of Paul, he wasn't here last year, obviously is a big addition for us. Someone who can, pass out of the post, but also, go to work down there, stretch the floor. And they can really move his feet on defense as well. I also think, Blake Wesley, obviously, a freshman for us, can really, guard. He's pretty fast, can get up and down the floor with the ball and facilitate for others. And then I also think, JR, who's another local kid from South Bend, who's a freshman also, I think, he can really shoot it. It could be, play some good minutes for us too.
Okay. And how's Robbie's health coming along?
He's coming along. The other day he said he's feeling better and better. I'm not sure if there's a timetable for him yet, but he's in there every day working, working his butt off to try to get back.
Right.
Which is, it's great to see.
Right. Yeah. And he's the type of guy that you'd love to have on. I would think you'd love to have on your team and hate to play against him. He's just one of those energetic, guys. I hope I'm rooting for him to get better.
Yeah, exactly.
So last year, looking over the season, it often seemed like you guys had to outscore the opponents as opposed to relying on being able to get critical stops. Also, the team, sometimes appeared to run out of gas in the second half of games, and the offense often had trouble handling full court pressure. Now, of course, this is all my opinion. Is that a fair assessment? And do you feel that this squad is in a better position to handle some of those things?
Yeah, I think I would say that was a pretty fair assessment. And that's, some of those things are, what we've addressed in the offseason, going back to, last spring, outlining those. And then, every single day we come in for practice, that's what we're focusing on, the defensive side of the ball. As well as offense as well. But yeah, definitely improving defensively can really help us a lot.
Okay. Yeah. So in what do you expect to play as much zone as you did last year? I think you personally played zone about 25% of the time. So I assume that basically applied to the whole team. I was watching Georgia Tech last night, your game against Georgia Tech, and you played zone, I think pretty much, 90% of the game. Is that something you expect to change?
I think it's more of a matchup thing for us. Certain teams we might play more man against versus, other teams that, if we go to zone early on in the game, and it's working really well, a lot of times we'll stick with it. I think, we play a bunch of different defenses to try to change the flow up of the game. But yeah, I would say just, whatever the night is, whatever's working that night, I think is what we'll stick with. I don't think it would be either, zone or man, you could say for sure, but just having those in our back pocket to, you know, change up the speed of the game really helps us on the defensive side of the ball.
Right. I also felt that, you know, I mean, a lot of times when you have depth issues that, you know, you play zone to keep people out of foul trouble. So I'm hoping that you don't have to use as much zone. I'm not a fan of zone. I don't know how you feel about it, but all right. So this season's schedule is going to be tough. I mean, starting on November 22nd, you play in the Maui Invitational, which this year is going to be in Vegas. And will include teams like Oregon and Houston. Then you return stateside right away to face Illinois at their place. And later on, you take on Kentucky and Indiana in mid-December. How excited are you about this schedule? And how excited are you about playing in front of fans again?
Yeah, I think, having our schedule finalized and seeing where that's going is going to be really cool. I think, you know, playing college basketball, you want to play, you know, those top teams like we have on our schedule. And then even more so this year because we have fans in the stands. You know, last year was a weird experience not having that aspect of the game. But yeah, even this past exhibition, we had, you know, some fans in the stands and that was really fun to do, you know, play in front of a crowd. But yeah, just, you know, having the schedule that we have, you know, there's a lot of great opportunities for us, and then being able to do it in front of fans is pretty special.
Yeah, it's quite the schedule. I mean, when you look at it, when you consider you're also going to be playing in the ACC. By the way, just a word of advice: when you're in Vegas, and do not hang out with Bill Walton at night. Do not do it for whatever reason. Just don't listen to him.
Yeah, okay, I'll write that one down.
You'll get stuck listening for hour and hours of just talk about how evil Digger is.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
I can see him talking about that or something.
All right. So let's talk about your game. Your shooting efficiency was fantastic last season, and you especially excelled in the pick and roll, transition, and cutting situations. You know, in that Georgia Tech game, you know, you really, abused Moses Wright, who was the, conference player of the year in the ACC. So what have you been working on specifically personally, since last season, and what can we expect to see as any new aspects to your game this year?
Yeah, I think definitely, just honing in on my skills. I think being able to, somewhat create my own shot, I would say, in the mid post, low post area, especially because a lot of teams will switch a lot of ball screens that I'm involved with. So being able to take advantage of those matchups is something that I focused on, as well as, playing out of pick and roll, pick and pops in different situations. Just trying to be prepared for, what a lot of the defenses are going to do with me.
So when you say create, we can expect you maybe to put the ball on the floor a little more this year, you think?
Yeah, a little bit, just attacking a closeout, simple stuff like that. Just different ways to score the ball.
Right. Good. So do you expect, I guess this is very much related, but playing along with Paul, you've already stated that his game is a little different than Juwan's. Do you expect to play personally? Do you expect to have a similar role?
For him to have a similar?
No,
similar
you.
Oh.
Can we expect you to have a similar role?
Yeah, I think, me and Paul, having played together for a few months now, has been really good. He's just having a low post threat there, but he's also really, really good at, kicking it out. To know a lot of guys like, me, Dane, Prentice, Cormac, Trey, all of us, who are kind of spotting up on the perimeter. So yeah, just, getting used to playing with him has been good. But yeah, I would say, definitely playing a lot of the stretch 4 and stretch 5 as well is probably where I'll be mainly this year as well.
Okay. So I noticed also when I was on ACC.com, their Preseason Awards. And despite all your success last season, despite the fact that you're on a number of draft boards this fall, including ours, the media surprisingly did not give you any recognition in terms of preseason honors. Is that an extra motivational factor for you this season?
Yeah, I would say just definitely a little bit. I'm not trying to worry about, preseason awards or anything like that at this point. I think, me as well as, my other teammates are just focused on, winning more games. I think, just taking care of that first and foremost will definitely lead to other, good things, whether it's individual or not. But yeah, I mean, just being focused on every single day coming in, practicing and winning more games will take care of everything else, is what I've always believed in.
Right. That makes sense. It's just, to me, it was actually a surprise. I surprised they had you eighth. I'm surprised, that you weren't, at least on the second team. So do you like that fact that you're really in an underdog role this year?
Yeah, I think, I mean, we've always kind of embraced here being, the underdog. I think that's a great, spot to be. Not as much, attention being put on us. But I think, having that role, having that mindset, we can make a lot of noise with it.
Yeah, I can imagine. I would enjoy being the underdog myself. So let's talk a couple personal things. I noticed on your Notre Dame bio, it says that your family lived in multiple places, including Belgium and Australia. Did you spend much time in those countries? And if so, what did you like about them?
Yeah, so I spent 3 years when I was younger in Belgium, and then 4 years in Australia. I was pretty young in Belgium, so I kind of remember, bits and pieces here and there. But I think it was cool just to see a lot of different countries from an early age. Being in a spot in Europe, you can get to other countries very, very quickly.
Right.
So just having those cultural experiences was really cool. And then obviously with Australia, it was also really cool that I kind of remember more of being a little older. So that was always a cool experience. Haven't been back since we moved back to the States, but it was a great spot to live and to grow up in as well.
Well, do you have any particular specific memory, a fond memory from either place?
I think just the culture in Australia was quite interesting. I mean, it is somewhat similar to the US in the fact that everybody speaks English, so it's a little easier living there overseas. But the culture was cool. The weather was pretty nice. So yeah, just living close to like the beach, because everybody lives on the coast in Australia. Right. Nobody lives in the middle because it's a lot of desert.
Right.
So yeah, it was a cool experience too, though.
Desert and huge bugs.
Oh yeah, the spiders and everything like that is insane. Yeah.
My wife and I were talking last night because she she might have an opportunity to work in New Zealand. She's like, "Do you want to move to New Zealand?" And I said, "I don't know." She goes, "They have huge bugs."
Yeah, everything down there is, it's a lot different.
So, okay. Last question, another personal question. In your spare time, which I assume is probably very limited, going to school at a school like Notre Dame, and also practicing and playing, traveling, all that good stuff. But when you do have some spare time, what do you do? And do you have a particular favorite hobby?
Yeah, I think, in my spare time, I, enjoy spending time with my friends, watching some TV shows, and just reading some books too, is another thing I really like to do. So yeah, in that small amount of time that I have available, right. That's kind of the three things that I do.
Okay. What particular show? What are shows you're watching these days?
So I just started watching The Sopranos. So I just finished season 1 of that.
Okay.
And then me and my roommates have all seen Game of Thrones, but we just started rewatching it together whenever we can. So that's been kind of fun.
Okay. Yeah, I watched it twice myself, and I usually don't do that, but I really enjoyed GOT and Sopranos. I'm in New Jersey right now, so and I watched that to the end as well.
Yeah, so I still got a few more seasons of that.
Okay, I won't spoil it. All right. Well, Nate, it was great talking to you, and I really appreciate. I know your schedule's tight, and I really appreciate you joining us. And I hope, after the season, maybe you'll rejoin us again when you're preparing for the draft, and we can discuss that in more detail if you're amenable to that.
Yeah, sounds great. Thanks for having me, though.
Yeah, I appreciate it. All right.